Now we're going to cover how to run regression models. Now before we do, I'm going to repeat myself here because this is something really important, and it's something that I think takes just a little bit of time for a lot of us for it to really click in our minds. In a regression model, you're going to have independent and control variables that are both a mix of continuous, ordinal, and nominal. All right, so you're going to have that combination of variables typically. But the way we're going to interpret the effects of those models, or the coefficients of those or variables, is going to depend on what type of variable we have. So if your independent or control variables are continuous and ordinal, we're going to interpret those like we would a regular correlation. If your independent or control variables are nominal variables, then we're going to interpret those like we would an independent samples t-test or mean differences. This is a really, really key point. So if it's something you're struggling with in class, make sure you ask lots of questions. We want to make sure you get that point down. Okay, so here's the code for running a regression model. And I've been saying, right, second half of the semester, their code's going to be a whole lot easier. Well, this is all our code for this week. So you're going to have an object name, whatever you want to call that, then LM, then you put your dependent variable first in this little squiggly line, then your list of independent variables, and there needs to be a plus symbol in between each one, then a comma, and then you're going to specify your data frame. And then this line is going to actually pull up the output in a little bit easier to look at form. Just to highlight here, LM here stands for linear model, which is another synonym for regression. We talked about linear regression is a name for this. So we're going to use this same data set that we used last week in kind of regression prep, where we're looking at this idea of the impact of childcare center quality on children's vocabulary. Here we've already prepped the variables, so we don't need to do any prepping in this. So let's go down then and actually run the model. Let's call this, you could call it anything you want, vocab model, do into LM. And you know, down here in my console, I'm going to print out the names of the variables. I like to copy and paste those. Okay, so your dependent variable first, squiggly line, and then we're going to put in the centered versions of center quality, parent education. Why don't we control for gender? So we dummy coded a variable called male, and then let's control for ethnicity. Now, from last week when we prepped these variables with this ethnicity variable, we had 4 groups. We had black, Hispanic, white, and other. And so we're only going to put 3 of those in. Now these are nominal variables, so actually we're not going to work on interpreting their effects this week. We're going to focus on these 2 continuous and ordinal variables. So if I run that, oh, I didn't specify the data frame. I'm like, what is going on? I didn't know what to do. Let's see, data vocab ready. There we go. So we run that. It doesn't actually print anything out unless you add this summary line. And the summary line is what is going to pull out the output. Why don't we put a comment here? This runs the model. This puts the model results in the output. Down here. Okay, in the next video, we're going to start talking about how to interpret what we're seeing in the output.